Hey everybody, Spidey09 here. I hope you're having a marvelous day. I'm here with my Marvel card buddies that I got to hang out with at the Atlanta Culture Collision trade show. We actually broke bread together, so that makes us real friends now, right? not
A lot of
not
bread.
fake internet friends.
Salt and bread doesn't mean you can't betray my house anymore. Is that how that works?
That's something like that. Yeah. But had a great time with you guys and looking forward to catching up again. This is our virtual roundtable. We had a couple of live roundtables in Atlanta, which was fun. But we got people jumping in the chats here. That's cool. We got Bryce and Swami. Swami was supposed to be there, but wasn't able to make it. Had a couple of guys that got hung up in air travel, right?
Yes.
Brian the Amazing Spider Guy, Swami. Yeah. Who else? Was that it?
I think that got waylaid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did, but I got there.
Yeah, you made it. That was awesome. Well, what do you guys got going on since the Atlanta trade show? Marvel Guy, I want to start with you. What do you got going on?
Well, restocking my wall cases because they were all in slab cases, which has been fun, reorganizing and going through what I have left. And which, I mean, I only sold a few cards, which is kind of what I was planning on anyways. I didn't think I was going to go there with a full case and come home with an empty one. But it was just a lot of fun, a lot of education, and just had a blast. But just been kind of thinking about the future and what we're going to do going forward, man.
Awesome. Neo, I know you've done a couple of videos already, but what do you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, just cranking videos and mostly sleep. It took me like 2 full days to recover from Atlanta. I'm not gonna lie. I'm once I hit 40, man, that whole 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and then get up for a 5 a.m. flight stuff just doesn't work for me anymore.
Well, I was extremely tired too. I understand.
I was hurting.
How was your wife? How did she handle it?
Good. She had a good time. She had a fun time. She enjoyed the aquarium. She went to see the fish based off Steve's recommendation. And she's an excellent Uber driver. Nice. She took us to Hot Chicken on Friday night. So
sweet. Mm-hmm. Mr. Madness?
Yeah.
What about you?
It took me a week to catch up from Atlanta. I don't know what it was, but I can't thrive on 4 hours of sleep every night. So it's like I had to do a big catch up. So other than that, just a couple videos that I posted of the Atlanta show and all that. And yeah, so
awesome, dude. Very cool.
And some pickups, I guess. I actually, so you guys all know I had a big sale of one of my cards. I was able to pick up quite a bit of stuff, actually. Someone had like a Facebook post and they had a bunch of 2013 Flair Retro inserts that I picked up, and picked up a PMG from 2015, a blue PMG.
Sweet.
So it's fun.
What character was it?
Ghost Rider.
Ooh, it's a beautiful card.
It is.
Now, Flip and Steve, you went right back to work selling cards. You went to another trade show, right?
Well, yeah, like with me, I got out of Atlanta really late. I missed my first flight out. I had to catch the second flight out. And then I was back to my actual job at the casino on that Monday morning. So then I took Tuesday and Wednesday off. I was back to my regular job again, Thursday, Friday. Then I was in Philly for the show yesterday. Then back again to my regular job today. And then I'll be working tomorrow, and then I'll have a couple more days off.
Wow. How was Philly?
Philly was, I hate to say miserable, because I love card shows. It was fun, but it was so packed that it took a lot away from the fun. It was like I said in the chat, it really was like 2,000 people in a 1,000 person room. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm surprised the fire marshal wasn't there because it was so busy. And I've heard a lot of this coming out of Dallas after a slow Friday. I heard that Saturday in Dallas was insanity. It's a good thing because it's great that people are out with the hobby. And I don't know if it's a combination of the mask mandate being lifted in this area along with tax season and things like that. But it was, and the internet service. I mean, I think I spent 3 hours at the show and I had had enough. And it could have been a little bit of show fatigue from Atlanta as well. I still wasn't fully rested, and I was finding cards that I knew nothing about. You know, I was trying to message you guys, and I had no service to contact you guys. Literally, because it's down in a valley, the Valley Forge Convention Center.
You
So
said
it's
you had to
down in
walk
the
up a
valley.
mountain or something.
Yeah, and you have to go out there, and the parking lot is like on a 45-degree angle. So you have to walk out, and plus it's on like the ground level floor. It's actually like on a basement floor. It's in a casino.
Right.
You know, you have to go out and walk up the parking lot, mountain / hill. Yeah, you know, I was like on Castaway, like I was Tom Hanks or something, trying to get.
Right. Let's get a signal.
But you know, it's still fun. It's still a show. It's better than doing lots of other things. They just need to do something about that venue. And I've gotten out one video this week. I haven't even got to drop my Atlanta video, and I have content from Philly. So I'm just behind, tired, but still having fun. And I've been buying and selling all week from home as well, and from my job, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but people messaging me and stuff.
I think I was the most impressed with you as a seller from the Atlanta show. I mean, you really moved some cards.
Yeah. Well, my take on moving cards is if I have room, I can give deals. And if you give deals, you have liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, everybody likes to feel like they're winning. And I might have a different perspective than a lot of people, but if I'm profiting well, I'm winning. And if I'm giving somebody a card slightly below comps, they feel like they're winning. You know, nobody wants to pay comp or over, even if you feel like a card is going to be worth a lot more money. In that case, I just don't. If I feel like there's something I don't want to sell because it hasn't reached its market peak and I'm willing to hold it, then I just won't put it out. But anything else I'll put out and I'll look to sell it. You know, if I'm getting back 300%, you know, if I'm getting $300 for a card that I bought for $100, even if it's comping at 350, I'll sell it for 300 or 290. You know, give somebody else, whether it's room for them or whether it's the fact that they feel like they're getting deals, and that'll be the people that come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll establish them as constant buyers because they know that you give them deals, and they'll even come back to you and buy at full market or at full comp because they know that you've given them deals in the past.
That's good stuff, man. And I saw that play out in Atlanta. It was awesome. Phil, hey, welcome to the show. This is your first roundtable, but man, we had a good time hanging out and learning more about you, learning more about your amazing collection. I don't think people realize what is in the background and at your house right now and how special it is. But tell us what you got going on.
Thanks, guys. Good evening, everyone. I just want to piggyback on some of the topics that's already shared by the rest of the members. First being Steve's. I've been to that show at Valley Forge, the card show there, at the same time of the year, the Mars show, and I could definitely agree with Steve that it was definitely overpopulated. I went on a Sunday 4 years ago, right after the Phillies won the Super Bowl, and they had like half of the team there signing autographs. So that place was absolutely mobbed. I know that Carl Wentz was there, and Nick Foles was there that weekend. And, you know, Phillies fans, man, anytime those guys make a public showing, they're going to go nuts. And it was nuts there. I think it was there for like 2 or 2.5 hours. And I didn't care about any of the football stuff, really. I was just looking for Mario cards. I couldn't find anything. And I remember Beckett was there also at that same show. And I pretty much went to go talk to Beckett about grades at that time because I was grading cards. And I went to go talk to the guys because I already had a package in, I believe. I had a package in, and they were like up at their quotes at that time in 2018. And I was kind of disappointed. I almost thought about trying to submit a couple of grades at that show, but I decided not to. I decided to just go home and do it and submit it that way because I don't know why I didn't do it at the show, but it's just, I guess I just wanted to have more grades instead of having like a smaller package of grades. But yeah, I definitely could vouch for Steve, what he says there, man. It's just, I find these bigger sports card shows, like I think the one we went to in Atlanta was a little bit different, but like the Dallas one and the Philadelphia one that just went on this past weekend, we're like the only group of guys that are really representing Marvel cards, you know, like everyone we pretty much know. There was a couple of people had a couple of things down. What I'm seeing a lot is graded 1990 cards right now. 1990 Marvel Universe. You see a lot of that, and I'm not really impressed with that because I have like 2,500 singles from 1990 that I opened years ago from boxes and stuff that I just haven't sorted yet. So I'm not really worried about, my condition of 1990 base singles and stuff like that. But the holograms are tough to find, though. I'm starting to realize, like, when the craze happened like 2 years ago, when everyone started getting the Marvel cards and everyone was chasing the holograms. My holograms are in great condition. I don't have any of them graded yet, but I started realizing like how much PSA value is centering, and I thought they were all like 9s and 10s that I have, but when I started looking at the centerings, they're probably not as perfect to get like a 9 or a 10. Some of them and some of the characters, but and then I kind of just I don't know. I had a really good time at the Atlanta show. Most of the stuff that I really valued at the Atlanta show was just hanging out with you guys and networking and meeting, some people, some other guys.
Absolutely.
Some of the sports cards collectors that are now turning to Marvel. I find that all really fascinating. And just to piggyback what everybody else said, the guys in the group here, I don't think you guys realize, like, for me, like, I'm usually a very active person. I usually try to go to the gym and I try to like run at least once a week. But since my injury, I broke my collarbone a little bit over a month ago, and I haven't been that active lately. And I try to like stay active throughout the day because I haven't been working. Just as like either sorting cards or selling cards or network cards, whatever it may be. But I really haven't had that whole like getting out and being on my feet as much. And I don't think you guys realize, like, it's funny, like, you go to like, I've been to other card shows and there's sometimes where I don't sit down the whole entire day and I'm just walking, standing. Like I sat down a little bit in Atlanta from time to time. I didn't have a table with you guys, but I don't think you guys realize that, like, you're on your feet walking all the time. It's almost like a workout. Like, it's like, and like you're waking up earlier than you may to get there early and set up early, and then you're constantly walking around just looking.
Yeah,
I think a lot of steps.
I think nailing the breakfast is important because it does become a long day. But hey, let's get to Scandell. Scandell, tell us your thoughts about Atlanta and what you've got going on, bud.
Well, since Atlanta, I think that was the question, right? I picked up a few different cards from a few different sellers. Got a lot more PMGs this week. I purchased a few different jambalayas off of ComC. I was able to acquire a few really big cards in Atlanta, and then I offered those up to some of the Facebook groups and other people that I know. So that I was happy about that because I was able to pay for my trip there with some of those profits, which was kind of my goal in the first place, just to have the hobby support itself. That being said, I think I ended up buying more cards in Atlanta than selling. That's for sure. Like, I think I represent I'm on the other side of the pendulum when it comes to like flipping Steve. I'm kind of like Holden Steven. That's my name.
Did you say hoarding, Steven?
Hoarding, yeah. Hoarding. Like, I just, like, once a card enters my hands and it is my possession, there's some kind of life debt that's formed for that card that I'll never let it go, and I'll never.
I saw that from my very eyes on trade night. He went, "Hey, I brought these for you, and you cannot have them."
For you too.
Yeah.
The cards, the cards whispered to me that you were not for them. It was a great time, and that's all I wanted to say.
Wonderful. Well, I want to address Joseph's question here. Where's the love for the great cure? Tons of love. He was invited to be on the round table, but more than likely he is traveling from Dallas, and he's been putting out some amazing content in Dallas. I know more to come, and he'll be on in the future. So good stuff. Hey, people in the comments. Last time we did the round table, we didn't get to address a lot of the questions. If you got any questions for us, please do so. We'd love to answer those. We got Charles in the house.
What's
Charles.
What's up, Charles?
Charles.
He was
the highlight of the show.
Yeah, he's the wind beneath our wings.
That's awesome.
Watching him run from every camera in the building.
For a man who looks good on camera, he runs from him pretty quickly. So it's fun to be with him.
He's the only reason Sports Card Investor came up to me.
Is he really? Hey, tell
Because
us
to get
about
closer
your
to Charles.
experience. Joshua, tell us about your experience with Sports Card Investor.
So the first thing that he wanted to do, well, basically he just came up and said, "Hey, that blue Wolverine, we want to talk about that, and we want someone to talk about it." And then Stacking Gems was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And I was the only one there, so I was just like, "I mean, I'll do it if you want." So, yeah, they're like, so yeah, just talk about the cards and all that stuff. And they clipped that out, which is fine. It didn't really need to be in there, but it was so awesome that I was able to just represent, Marvel cards and be able to be there and show people that Marvel cards exist, on some level. Some people don't know what's happening with these PMGs and just in general Marvel cards. So it's great to see someone like Sports Card Investor Jeff take a liking to it and want to actually create content about Marvel cards. And I think that's a big thing. It's going to be a big thing with this video that he did, that
Awesome.
posted.
Yeah, there's a lot of Marvel in his content over the weekend from Atlanta.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty special. Hey, Neil, I want to toss this one up to you from Charles. Hey, guys, what are your long-term thoughts on White Swartz Gold Foil and Avenger Foils card? I know you've opened some. I think you've been grading some. So what are your thoughts?
I've only had the one come back graded so far. That was an SGC slab. It was just like the base. Oh God, I forget the lower level grades now. It was just the black bordered or black background one.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think you did a double rare, didn't you?
Yeah, double rare. And then I sent one of the better ones, the prism looking ones, is in a PSA order right now. I'm not sure about the base level stuff, how well it'll do, but I think the gold foil embossed ones, if any will hold value, it'll be those, because they do seem pretty hard to hit.
Right.
I ripped 4 boxes, I think, and didn't hit any. Yeah, those ones there that Steven's showing off.
So it's
there's
interesting.
different versions of them. There's the Avenger logo one, and then there's the
the one with the A.
The A. I think the A is the rarer one. Is that correct?
The A is more rare, and the symbol, I believe, is not as rare.
Yeah, they're pretty
The A is
niche.
the A is like that is the
Yeah,
AVGR, and the other one is the MVGR. I think. Yeah.
Well, I just know they're hard to hit. I think they're like 1 per case.
There are 2 A's that are lower tier still, so it's not universally the A. There are 2 A's that are lower.
Okay. Interesting.
I can't remember which 2 characters they are. I think there's Scarlet Witch A and Vision A, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more common.
So the other tricky part that I would caution on those, if you're buying graded, they grade really easy. So it's not like, a PMG or something like that, or a Metal Blaster or whatever, where a PSA pop report is going to be artificially low because they're tough grades. I mean, they're some of the easiest cards to grade that there is. So keep that in mind.
They're basically playing cards.
Yeah,
they're built to be shuffled and not fall apart. So
it's interesting.
Pretty clean.
Coming out of Atlanta, one of the sports card guys that was there that has a pretty big content, a pretty big channel. That was what he asked to buy, was White Swartz to be able to rip. So I thought that was fascinating.
It's a fun rip, and it's a cheap rip. I mean, that's part of the reason why I bought them for, like, what were they, $80 a box when they first came out? Like, I don't know what they're doing now. I held 2 boxes. I'm actually curious to see how the wax does in the long term.
What do we know what some of those comps have been that have sold on some of those graded ones that have come back?
I think the Thanos PSA 10 did like 500, didn't it? That's the only one I remember seeing.
It's not
that
bad
was like
out
the
of
first one, so that one's always going to be high.
Yeah, that's not bad for a new card.
And is that the one with the symbol?
I believe that it was, but I'd have to double check.
Has the glove?
I think it was
has
the
the
gold
glove
foil
symbol
with the fist. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to toss this one to Flip and
That
Steve because
contact, I was going to say real bad. Creator should have came to my table. I was giving packs away free.
You're right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I want to toss this one to Flip and Steve. Data Collector says, I collect mainly sports. Comps are easy and readily available. What do you do for Marvel cards you find on eBay versus comps seem to be selling different? Don't know which one's more accurate. What do you think?
Well, it's going to depend on which end of cards you're looking at, because even if you're looking at sports cards, you're not going to find steady comps on rare cards. So in comparison to the Marvel market, what's moving right now is rare cards. At least that's my experience. I don't have an experience with a lot of base items and a lot of massively produced cards. And first of all, when I say massively produced, nothing from Marvel is produced to the level of some sports stuff, at least modern, or at least from 2010 to today.
Right.
So print runs are going to naturally be lower anyway. But I'm finding the liquidity in the Marvel cards, because right now a lot of the Marvel cards, like I said, that are selling are PMGs. They're high dollar cards. You have to find buyers for high dollar cards, and you have to have entry level for people wanting to come into a new market. Not everybody's going to want to fly into a new market and be like, okay, I'm ready to drop a couple grand on a precious metal gem. Especially when they don't know the market, don't know Marvel, don't have the budget, it's a risk, they're conservative, whatever the case may be. So I believe a lot of lower end stuff is going to start establishing more of a market. But right now, the trickle down effect, other than people who have been collecting Marvel cards for a long time, like a majority of you guys or all of you guys, I haven't seen massive amounts of lower end stuff moving. Again, I don't search that stuff though, because I'm more messing in the higher end right now. ComC in comparison to eBay, when the market started to take off, you saw ComC prices changing. People who had their cards listed on ComC for what seemed to be really cheap, in a matter of a day or in no time, had went over to their collections that were on ComC and either started pulling their cards off to sell on a bigger platform or started upping their prices. I noticed that as being a shopper on ComC, because there was deals on ComC and those deals were disappearing really quickly, almost to the point now to where eBay sales affected people to go to ComC and realize, oh my God, I've had that card sitting on there for the last year. Now all of a sudden it's, got a 500% increase in value. I need to get that change. So now the difference that I'm seeing between ComC and eBay isn't very much, because people realize that I need to get my stuff priced up to what the eBay comp is at, because that's what people are always going to chase or look at first is eBay. But with that being said, how do you comp a card that sold twice in the last 3 months or something like that? You just don't. It's a perceived value to a market value. Case in point, I sold a card today for $3K that the last comp was $19K, and that last comp was a week ago. So,
and this was a Marvel card?
Yes, this was a Marvel card. So that person that bought the card was looking at the last comp, but they wanted the card and they perceived the card to be more valuable than the last comp, and they were willing to pay more than the last comp.
Yeah, you mind sharing what card it was? Ooh, Scarlet Witch.
Damn.
What grade is that?
PSA 8. Yeah. So I think an auction of this one ended not long before Atlanta, or maybe during Atlanta.
That's
and
right.
I have this out.
We talked about that one.
Yeah, I have this out because I have to get ready to ship it. Because I had a buyer today. I put it on the Marvel Facebook. It was the first time I ever put anything on the Marvel Facebook page, and it just it just went really quickly after trying to move it at different shows. Now, it's had a lot of interest, even at other shows. And I'll let some other people talk, but I mean, I could elaborate on the Philly show and my experience as far as Marvel was there, but
Well, hey, yeah. So just real quick, about 30 seconds on that, because this might answer Paul's question about movement, Marvel cards at shows.
Okay. Yeah. So there wasn't much of it for sale. There was one dealer that had some sports, had a lot of Pokemon trading card games, and then he had a 2015 Red Black Panther and a PSA 8. I saw that card there, kind of got my attention. I also went to another table that had a few bronze PMG 2017s. They looked through all of my PMGs and had a lot of interest. Their take was, and these are sports guys, their take was, I want to buy raw and grade. that's where my margins are at. So a lot of people who are grading right now, they may be limiting their buyer demographic. Meaning a lot of buyers out there are looking, especially if they're looking to flip, they're looking to buy raw and grade because they realize that's where their biggest profit turnover is at. As opposed to buying graded and then trying to resell graded. You buy a nice clean raw card and grade it, you leave yourself a much bigger percentage to gain on the card. And then the table where I found those sketch cards, the guy just back in the corner, now it was in his showcase, but it was behind a bunch of wrestling and UFC cards with just a stack of miscellaneous cards. And I saw a Star Wars card on top, and I was like, do you mind if I, and this goes to say, when you go to these sports card shop or shows, search, because these guys don't have this random stuff out in their cases.
Yeah.
Ask. And I picked up this pile that has Star Wars card on top, and as I started to go through it, there was like a Shrek card, there was like a Mickey Mouse card, and then there was like 4 or 5 Marvel sketch cards. Yeah. They weren't even like displayed. They were just mixed in a pile of random stuff that if I didn't ask to look through it, I wouldn't even have known that they were there.
That's crazy.
And when I found them, I didn't even know what they were. That's when I was like, okay, these look really cool, but I have no idea what they are. And if he was like $20 a piece, I would have just bought him without even thinking about it. But he was like 400, 300, and I'm like, okay, now I just can't buy blindly. I need to know what these are.
Right.
That's on the artist.
And I had no idea, and couldn't educate myself because there was I couldn't look up anything. I couldn't even look up the stat or anything. There's no internet. Yeah. The one thing that I will say is most of the tables I would go up to and I would say, do you have any Marvel stuff? Because like I said, they don't display this stuff. A lot of them would say no, but like I said, probably 70 to 75% of the tables responded with, I don't have any Marvel, but I wish that I did. And I'm actually looking for some. And they would ask me in return if I had any. So a lot of people got to see my PMGs that I had with me. I didn't carry my Pelican case yesterday. I just wanted to go enjoy that show and browse and find some deals. I didn't need to sell because I did good in Atlanta. And it just didn't turn into me being able to do that because it was so crowded. But I took a couple of my PMGs just to show people. I wanted to show them because I was glad that I had them. And I wanted to be like, hey, look, this is cool if they asked about Marvel.
Yeah, so
and a lot of people were interested. There was a lot of interest. They were like, I don't have any, but I'm looking to acquire some. Do you have it? They would then ask me, do you have any for sale? And I'd be like, well, I got like 5 PMGs in my I was just wearing my little pouch over my shoulder, and that's all that I had with me. And I would show them to them. They'd be like, these are great, but and that was kind of the take from Philly. And you got to understand the Philly show to an Atlanta show or even to a Dallas show. Philly is an old school show. It's got lots of vintage dealers there. It's like 40% vintage. It's really a throwback show. Vintage cards and all the dealers there have been doing this for a really long time. As opposed to Atlanta, where it seemed like a much younger crowd, a little bit more hip, a little bit more up to date, a little bit more of accepting change and going with the trends. So coming out of an old school show like Philly, getting that vibe of people feeling the interest of Marvel cards was pretty cool.
That is interesting because they're not resistant to it, even though they're old school. It's
right.
Fascinating. Kent, I'm gonna throw this one to you. Any worries that sports card collectors will create a bubble in Marvel, and are Marvel autos the next to pop in a good way?
Are you throwing that to, Justin?
To you.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good one for me, actually. So, and somebody actually mentioned also the Unbound stuff. So, some of my favorite cards are actually the autos right now. Everybody knows I have the 1 of 10 Palumbo What If Moon Knight auto, which is a really special card to me. I've been buying the Unbound autos when I can get them. I have the Ironheart. I bought the Moon Knight today, and I have the Black Knight, auto. So I really like them. But do I think that they're going to pop? Yes. But the thing with autos is kind of similar to sketches, whereas if it needs to be an artist that is known, So if it's a Dave Palumbo or if it's a Joe Jusko, or if it's somebody like that, those go for big dollars. Where if it's somebody that you don't know, like I collect those Brian Tillman sketches, he's starting to get known. So if it's somebody that's really well known, they go for a lot of money. If they're not, then you can get them very inexpensively. And then once their name gets out there and people start to realize who they are, that's when they do pop. And I think eventually once they understand that these are really low numbered, I mean, the Unbounds are numbered to 50, that Palumbo is numbered to 10. I mean, those are really extremely rare cards, and you have the actual artist autographing in them, which makes them look cool. So then the next question is, do we grade them? So I'm considering having those graded, because then you get it, if you do a PSA and then you get a graded card with an auto grade, that makes it even better. So yeah, I think those could pop in the future for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I have to agree. I've already seen people looking at Marvel cards with autos on them and searching for them. I know I have. I've already grabbed a few that I like. Scandell, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts?
No, I was in 2 conversations this week with sports card collectors that reached out to me looking for autograph cards, and I thought it was pretty interesting to me because I hadn't heard much buzz about that from, it does seem like they are exploring beyond the PMGs and the jambalayas. They are, they are.
Auto's it's a reasonable evolution into Marvel cards from a sports card collector, because autos is a big deal there as well. I remember I picked up an auto one time of Donnie Cates. May not mean anything to a lot of you, but Donnie Cates is a major modern writer of Marvel comic books, especially Venom, Thor, now soon to be Hulk. And I picked up an on-card auto of his for like $25. I'm like, how can you pass that up? And so there's still a lot of good deals out there for some of those cards that have autos that I would definitely be looking for.
So on the auto thing, Neo, you picked up some autos of Fleer Ultra Spider-Man 2017, right? What's your take on those?
My take was they were numbered to 50 and were still pretty cheap, so I just bought them on spec, like just blindly. Honestly, that's what it was. I saw Fleer Ultra Spider-Man gold numbered to 50, and I cared about that more than the auto, honestly.
Yeah,
because those were the gold webs. I bought the black suit and I bought the silk back when, like a month ago or 2 months ago, I think it was now, like when everything was taken off. And it was, to me, my angle on it was just a matter of everything else numbered Marvel has gone crazy. These still seem reasonably cheap, so I just bought them. Like I bought the black suit for $60 and sold it a week and a half later for $650. So
that's insane.
Yeah.
I bought the silk for $50 and sold it 2 weeks later for like $300. So
wow.
I've got the gold web foil Wolvie is right up there at its autograph.
Yeah, this one right here is the Venom legacy foil and it's Greg Hildebrandt.
Yep.
I picked that up a long time ago.
My angle on it was more the gold and numbered to 50 than I cared anything about the artist auto, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
That's the angle that I was looking at it at.
Hey, Phil, you were saying something, but I couldn't hear you. What were you saying?
I think Cards bought my silk. I had a double of it on Comicsy. Did you buy it from Comicsy?
On which one?
The silk.
I bought it on eBay, but it very well could have come from ComState. Sometimes I don't pay attention. I just click buy it now.
Autos, and I have a complete set of everything when it comes to autos. Like
that's awesome. Hey, so I want to toss this question up to you. It's kind of a joke. He says, "All right, what's the next PMG?" So I'm not going to ask you what is the next PMG, but what do you think is an insert that people coming from outside of the historical Marvel card hobbyists, they're missing out on?
This question is for me?
For you, yes, sir.
It's so tough to tell. The PMGs are so relatable to sports cards collectors because they were basically around it came about the same
time. My
time.
question isn't really what is the next PMG. What insert do you think people are just not aware of that are coming from the outside to the inside that are really special?
I mean, the gold galleries and the gallery cards from Marvel Masterpieces are great. They're almost like a PMG. Same way with the Battle Spectres. They've all done really well recently. And they're almost like a PMG. They have a lot of like really nice reflective foil. There's going to be some other sets. We'll have to see how these sets go with, in the future. Coming with the ultimate, Fleer Ultra Spider-Man that's going to debut here early this summer. I'm curious to see what type of.
You mean Spider-Man metal?
Yeah, Spider-Man metal. Yes. Did I say Clear Ultra?
Spider-Man. You did. That's okay.
I
just didn't want to get anybody. I didn't want to create any false hype out there around Clear Ultra Spider-Man coming out again.
That's a really tough question. A lot of people ask me all the time, "What do you think's going to happen with the PMG market?" I'm just like, honestly, man, I know it's really high now, but the stuff is like it's art. It's I don't see it. I mean, I don't really see a dip coming. I really don't. I think there's just I think the market could still grow and spread into other countries. Like it's really heavy in the US market, but it's so marketable. Like it's not like sports where they're held to North America, you know, that's just soccer. And I just think it could just spread. I have so many friends in other countries that I mail to all the time, you know, in the UK and stuff like that. And I think it easily could spread to, it's already in Asia and Australia, right? I mean,
yeah, what I hear you saying is, you know, sports cards is obviously global, but you're saying Marvel cards has a better chance of being global.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I think there's new people coming into the market every day. I tell you, as a seller that I've been selling on eBay for 10 plus years now, I've literally shipped cards. I shipped to like Africa, you know, which is really surprising. You know, I shipped to Morocco, South Africa.
Hey, what is that noise? Is somebody dragging a piece of furniture across their house?
It's not me.
That's really loud.
Like Cujo.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Whatever that was.
I really don't know what, I mean, the vibranium has done really well in the winter time so far. That's something I never got into. I don't know why. I almost did. I think I had some sealed boxes. I sold them a long time ago. I probably just made my money back on them or something, or just a small profit.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I had held on to a couple of those. That's a really nice set that's popping right now.
Hey, can I tag onto that, Phil?
Sure, go ahead.
So Renee from Storage Wars, he's made it pretty public. He bought 2 cases of vibranium for $21,000 a piece, $42,000. He's already turned down offers of double what he paid
per box. How much
for 2 cases?
Case.
2 cases. So $21,000 a case, $42,000 total. It's already turned down offers of double.
That's one thing about, you know, sealed product. I have a lot of it, you know, as long as you take care of it, you know, it's always going to appreciate.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be Marvel cards, you know, so, but Marvel cards is a different beast than some of the other sets out there. Obviously it's just more marketable. Everyone loves the movies right now. And yeah, so.
Awesome. So I'm going to, talk about TBG's comment here. Why Marvel cards go from 0 to 100 a year. They're insanely overpriced. They hit their ceiling already. And I respect his opinion and where he's coming from. And I know that there's obviously you have this 0 to 100, but I think that's the power of awareness. You know, a year ago before Neo's video, there was almost no one looking at Marvel cards outside of graded slabs of 90 MU. Neo, when you did that video, did you have any idea about any of these other Marvel cards that exist?
I mean, I definitely knew that they existed, but I didn't have I couldn't have told you like what they sold for or anything like that. Like I knew Marvel cards just didn't stop getting printed after like 1995.
Yeah,
but I didn't know like all the intricacies of, you know, the various different products and stuff in the more modern era. You know what I mean? I stopped with Marvel cards probably around 95. Was it 95 Fleer Ultra X-Men? Like in that range, 96. But obviously I knew that they kept printing them after that.
Mm-hmm. But after you did that video, it still took how long before you just start really buying into Marvel cards?
That's a tough question. I mean, I always thought they'd be viable. I didn't think they would be this viable, I guess. I never expected this. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously no one did, otherwise everyone would have been buying them, you know, last year. But I always thought that there would be a market for them, and I thought that the level up was last year. You know what I mean? Like that buzz happened around the beginning of 2021 from myself and others. Kind of bumped the market up on 90 MU, obviously, but then, you know, PMGs and a lot of other stuff got a little bump off that. Not a huge one, but not to the level, you know, that's happened in the last. 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know if they're insanely overpriced. But I can tell you I have some stuff that I don't think have hit the ceiling. That's for sure.
I think the ultra rare stuff hasn't hit the ceiling yet because a lot of it hasn't sold since everything went crazy since the beginning of the year. I think the more, and when I say common, like, like bronze PMGs, maybe even some red from 2017 and stuff. A lot of the vibraniums, the higher numbered, like 99 and up. I think we are starting to see at minimum a flattening. Like that stuff is not jumping 20 to 30% a sale anymore like it was.
Right.
Some of them are finishing $100 over. Some of them are finishing $100 under the last comp. So the more common, more cards that are coming up for sale more frequently, I think have kind of hit a current level. Whether they level up again, we don't know. Whether they level down again, we don't know. But the shocking numbers still coming out are the stuff that we have not seen sell yet, like that blue Wolverine or the red Wolverine from 2013. There was that blue Hulk, I think, the other day that went for like 20K. The Jambalaya the other day, the Wolverine What If from 2016, because there's been no recorded sales of that stuff in the last 4 months. So I think stuff like that is going to pop up and put up a huge number.
Yeah, there's a gold one of one on PWCC. Is that right?
What's that?
I think there's a gold one of one up at PWCC.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet. So I think that sort of stuff is still going to come to market and put up large numbers and still draw eyeballs. But I think the stuff that's transacting on a regular basis has kind of established itself now at its current level. And then, we don't know what's going to cause it to spike or go down from here. Does Doctor Strange come out and that stuff spike based off movie spec? We don't know yet. That really hasn't been a thing in Marvel cards to the degree that it is on the comic book side, maybe a little bit. So that's the unknown,
It's not slowing down. You got X-Men coming into the scene, but they're going to redo all the X-Men movies. It's going to nothing's slowing down.
What was that? What was that, Joshua?
No, I was just going to say Marvel's really hard to gauge. You can gauge things with seasons and stuff in sports, like when seasons are going to end, seasons are going to begin. And I guess you could do that somewhat with the Doctor Strange movie, but it seems to me that the more popular Marvel's going to be, I think Phil is kind of right in the fact that I think it's going to be steady, like you said, Neil, where it's going to be pretty much like flat right now. And then if something really jumps up where the popularity and the hype happens, I feel that more and more people are seeing just video with Marvel cards. I mean, it's only been 1 day, and just see what happens next week. We don't know what's going to happen. That's what's kind of crazy about Marvel cards. It's a so volatile market and so popular right now. It could jump 10x again. Like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I do think the price point, to like Steve's point, flipping Steve's point earlier, a lot of people aren't going to be coming in and diving into PMGs at a 2 to 3 to 4K entry level point. And for lack of a better term, from a sports card perspective, person coming in, they're just looking at it primarily on the financial angle. A lot of the easy money is gone. You could still make money, but the easy money is gone. You're not buying it $50 to $100 and selling for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 again.
I agree with that. I think it's more the investors, the higher tier investors that might look at longevity now.
Yeah, but there's only so many of those cards that go around on the upper tier end. You know what I mean? A long-term, a major investor is not going to come in and look at a Spider-Gwen 199 bronze and be like, let me load up on those. They're going to look at the green, the blue, the purple, that sort of stuff. And that's the sort of stuff I think that has a lot of upward mobility. I think the more mid-tier to lower end stuff has room to go up for sure, but I think those prices are going to be less swingy now.
So if you think about it, and I'm going to be really brief with this, but if you think about it, there are certain buyers that when they buy something, it's gone. It reaches that top price, X number of thousands, whatever dollars, and then it goes in that collection, and then there's no one above them, right? And as Marvel cards are bought up to that level, I think that as that absorption process happens, then you're going to see more of the base card graded pop report type stuff. And that's, to me, when you get to that place, that's where you start talking about, hey, there's a ceiling here. that, it can get dangerous, right? But we're not even close to that from what I can tell anyways.
And it also depends on how many people come in and actually stay in, and how many people, what we don't know is how many people came in for the quick buck, made their cash, and they're going to leave, and how many people are actually here collecting. And that's what we don't actually know yet, because you need buyers for this stuff. So if a bulk of people were coming in just for the money, sell it and move on, then you start running out of end users for it. So you need to have that constant influx, which, like we've all talked about, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of eyeballs on it. But as we've seen in all the other markets, eventually that runs out. All the collectible markets have gone through this phase the last 2 years since the pandemic. And I don't, I've said this before, I don't think Marvel cards are immune to the same things that we saw happen in sports cards, in comic books, in Pokemon, in VHS, in graded video games. All of them have had a massive rise, a pullback, and then, okay, cool, this is where the market is at now for this.
I also want to comment that someone's microphone is picking up noise. I heard it. I've been hearing it this whole time. It's been.
Is that you flipping, Steve?
Maybe try to everybody mute your mic one at a time. It went off.
What? Shouldn't be me. I've got headphones in, but.
Well, yeah, I don't know who it is, but if you're not talking, just mute yourself, and when you get ready to talk and our call on you, we'll unmute. Flippin' Steve, stay up for me. I mean, Holden Steve, stay up for me.
Yeah. Can I ask one question really quick as well? Like, how much is the because Upper Deck is failing to release product at a reliable rate, and they're actually releasing product at a very slow simmer? How is that affecting the market? And if they were releasing product on full cylinders every 4 months or so, or every 6 months maybe, even would be great. How would that affect the Marvel card market?
Well, I think cards are the lifeblood. It's the oxygen, that the hobby needs. And without new product, people still want to have something arriving on their doorstep. So they're definitely competing and buying singles. I think that is a real thing. If they had more product able to arrive on their doorstep, that would impact some of those single sales. I could definitely see that. But I did want to ask you this, because Stephen, you got to talk to eBay and have an interview with them. The question here is, eBay and SGC grading seem to be a big talk at the conference. What are y'all's thoughts on how this and how does this change the future of Marvel cards?
He did correct this later. It is CSG, not SGC.
Okay. You going to tackle that one for me?
Is that me?
Yep.
Well, yeah, I was interviewed by eBay, and they I don't even know how it happened, but they found me, and I guess I fit the mold of what they were looking for, which is a bearded, overweight guy that likes comic books and collects cards. And there was only one of 6,000 people to pick that matched that criteria. But the bottom line was they shot like a 2-minute segment with me talking about what I've been doing on eBay for the last 20 years, which is because I had been chatting with someone about it, which is the fact that I've been stalking and picking up the same type of Marvel card for the last 20 years on eBay as they've been coming up. And they thought that was an interesting story, and they wanted to talk about that and how, what my thoughts on eBay were. And I was really honest in the interview, but at the same time, as I sat there and I was being questioned, especially as everybody here probably knows, I was just I felt a little bit spurned by eBay recently, just because of my card slipping out of the authentication holder. But none of that really came to my mind as I was being interviewed. And really, it was mostly just like, I love eBay. I really do love eBay. I've always loved eBay. It's a great place. And I've picked up so many great things on eBay in so many different areas of collectibles for such good prices that I wouldn't have been doing that just to say anything negative about them.
Mute your mic.
Who?
Kent.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I have headphones. I have headphones.
It doesn't
it's
matter.
You for sure. It's you. Yep. Yeah, but the
I don't know how. I don't have a TV on or anything. I just have my headphones in.
Yeah. But the yeah, so that interview went well, and yeah, as far as I can't remember the second part of the question, but I just remember you talking about eBay.
Well, he was asking, once CSG does start grading Marvel cards and the relationship they seem to have with eBay, how do you see that impact in the future of Marvel cards?
No comment. I don't really know. I don't even know how to speak to it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think most people would just say that when a slab looks like a comic book, the hope is, or the thought is, it might bring in more Marvel card buyers from the comic book space.
Okay, so you're okay. So sorry, I got hung up on the fact that because I know the comic book grading to be CGC, and you were referring it to it as CGS, right?
I think it's CSG. Is that right, Nia?
CSG is the sports card side.
Mm-hmm.
CGC is the comic book and TCG side.
I love
the hopes and dreams are is that they will grade Marvel cards.
Yeah, I have tons of more. I do. I came from comic book, and I have lots of CGC comics. So, if in the event that CGC started grading, I would crack all my slabs and send them to CGC to grade.
It
in
was,
an instant.
To me, it wasn't by accident that eBay and CSG, which is CGC, were set up near each other and had a big contingent of their people there. Obviously, the authentication process and the relationship that they have right now is a big part of that. Probably the biggest part of that. Hey, Kent, Marvel Guy 239, you want to answer this question on what are your thoughts on 2021 Upper Decks Marvel Unbound?
And like I mentioned earlier, the value, I mean, they're cool cards, obviously. It's Fred Nien art. It's amazing. They all look great. Each character each week is even this last week was Sentry. But for me, I'm really after the autos on that because they're numbered to 50. And I can even imagine if you had the whole set of autos would be ridiculous. And then this week upcoming, the internet's going to break because it's Spider-Man. But I really do like them. I have an alarm set when it's going to come up every week. And yeah, so I like them. I don't know. I mean, there's 999 cards obviously in each character. So what the value of those singles are going to be, I don't know. And I'm not sure also, and you might know this, Justin, at the end, if you have a full set, is there going to be an achievement or what kind of happens there? But I like the autos a lot.
Yeah, let Phil knows that answer.
Yeah, he's right on it. The base are numbered to /99s, and then there's /50 autos, right? So you basically have 1 out of 20 chances, 1 out of 20 packs. The only chance you have of pulling everything every week is either a base or an auto, and it's like $12. And sometimes you get lucky. I have a complete set of autos so far. I'm hoping to pull Spider-Man tomorrow morning. And how it works is they do it quarterly. So every 13 weeks, it's been going on for a year now. Well, not a year, but 9 months. Right. So far, we're in week 43. Tomorrow will be week 43, Spider-Man. So far, the first 13 weeks, there's a quarterly achievement. It's a battle card, right? The first quarter was Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. The second quarter was Wolverine versus Hulk. And the third quarter, I believe it was Elektra versus Daredevil, I think. And once you get all the quarterlies, then you can go ahead and redeem those and get a signed lithograph by Fred Ian. And I don't know what the picture is going to be, but that's why everyone's holding them right now. So there's a big difference between unredeemed and redeemed. You can basically buy the cards like cheaper than the actual packs, on e-packs right now for about $7 to $10, depending on the character. But once they're redeemed and you send them to Comicsy, they're selling for a lot less. They're selling anywhere between $2 and $10. But I think once everything's done, once the 52 weeks is up, you're going to see a complete set probably sell pretty cheap around maybe $250 to $300 is probably what I'm thinking, because there's a lot of guys out there who have a lot of the base cards. And I think that price will actually go up as the time goes by. But yeah, there'll be 52 cards in the set. And then you'll have the achievement cards, which is the battle cards. There'll be 4 different types of those. And then you'll have the lithograph, and then you'll have the autograph cards. So awesome. That's it.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Flippin' Steve from Grail Chaser, thoughts on grading base cards as grading prices have dropped and the supply is low, and a lot of buyers want a low entry point like sports cards 2 years ago.
Never at this point recommend any strictly base card grading in sports or Marvel cards, because eventually it's going to come to a point to where base to an extent is irrelevant. But you could look for there's a set that I think is great entry level in the Vibraniums, and that's just the Raws. They look great. They're not serial numbered, but they're not base. They look really nice. I think there's a lot of growth in a lot of lower sets that people don't talk about. I saw a comment earlier. I like the Upper Deck Premier sets. Even those are serial numbered, I believe, on the base. So I think those are great. They're tough to grade, though. These aren't like Prism or Optic or Select basketball cards where the cards are got chrome finishes and are super easy to, you know, to grade. Not super easy, but they're not like, you know, 1988 Topps cardboard cards, you know. And like when Neo was talking about the market earlier, I think there's a lot of, I still think there's a lot of growth in those sets. Vibranium, I still think has a lot of room. I talked about people, new people being priced out of PMGs, priced out of jambalayas, other different inserts, even to an extent royal foils. But there's the hardware sets, there's Intimidation Nations, those sets are still affordable to an extent. I would grade that type of stuff before I would grade base cards. And we've seen a big separation between even blues and red PMGs recently. So I know we were talking about how the bronzes are going to slow down. I do see a plateauing. I honestly see a plateauing in reds and bronze in the PMGs because the high-end collectors aren't going to have as much interest, and the lower-end collectors aren't going to be able to afford it. So those cards are going to kind of like sit there in the middle where I believe nothing pulls them down and nothing pulls them up. But people coming in are going to need something to buy. That's what I think is going to drive sets like Upper Deck Premier, like continue to drive Vibranium. If you, for instance, I just sold a red Scarlet Witch out of 99 or out of 100. I also sold a refined Scarlet Witch. Actually, I sold 3 refined Scarlet Witches in Atlanta for 150 to people who were new to Marvel, and they were asking me. They were like, "This is a really good set."
And remind people what refined is not numbered out of
99.
Yeah, I just want to make sure people picked up your correlation that the red's out of 100 and the refine's out of 99.
Yeah, and they're like, "This card looks good. It's serial numbered. It's $150, where this is like 2,000 or 1,500 raw." You know, I don't know a raw value on this card really, but you're looking at it. You know, if it's 150 to 1,500, you're like looking at a 10x between a PMG red and a 99 refined. And one thing that's so key to understand, and this is firsthand experience for myself as well, people coming into a new market, it has to be easy to understand and easy to learn. Like some of the Marvel Masterpieces sets can be confusing because you have tiers, you have serial numbered, you have serial numbers within tiers and things like that. I still don't have a full grasp for that.
Nor do I.
Same with the sketch cards. But if you simply say, this one is numbered out of 50 and this is what it looks like. This one is numbered out of 99 and this is what it looks like. There's another one that's not even serial numbered, but it's a nice little 1 in 3 packs, kind of like a Prism Silver. You know, Prism Silvers aren't serial numbered, and they're the card that drives the market in basketball. And then you have a base. It just keeps it simple for someone who, you know, you don't want to scare somebody out. You don't want somebody new coming into the market and you throw something crazy at them and them get intimidated and be like, it's too expensive and I don't understand. So there's lots of other sets to say, hey, these are nice. They're easy to understand. You can learn. You can get in at a low risk, and you can buy the stuff that appeals to you aesthetically, as well as everybody has their favorite character. I don't care if you're a sports card collector. I don't care if you collect rock and roll stickers. I don't care if you collect vintage toys. Everybody has their favorite Marvel character. We all go to the movies. We all see them. A majority, not everybody, but we all, most of the people do. Anybody that has anything to do with pop culture, whether they're collectors of anything or not, have their favorite Marvel character that they can relate to. So a lot of times they may not even be looking to collect Marvel cards as a whole as much as they are to say, hey, that's a really cool looking item that I understand, that's serial numbered, that's a fair price, and I like the person on there, whether you're talking about a basketball card or a Marvel card. So being able to relate and being able to understand is huge, and that's why I like some of the other sets. And I just tend to always steer clear of base cards because to me, something has to have something kind of special to it. You know what I mean? And grading, when you're grading base cards at these costs, that's where your big thing is. Like if I want to talk to you from a cost efficiency standpoint, does it make sense to grade a base, say a base vibranium for $50 or for $100? I don't know if that really makes sense, because if you're not getting a 10, you're not getting any value out of it.
Yeah. Well, look, I still enjoy a base card that's got a gem mint grade of whatever grading company. And so I think there's probably still some market there. You just got to be careful, to your point, on the entry level. But hey, can we all just admire Grail Chaser's logo here? His YouTube image? That is a nameplate, exquisite nameplate Spider-Man numbered to 10. It's a female driven set. There are very few male cards, and this is probably the best one in my opinion. That is that's quite the card. I love that.
Justin, real quick on this question, I do think on the base side, I tend to agree. Like, I'm not going to go grade, X-Men metal base or even the upcoming Spider-Man metal base or Marvel Premiere base. But I do think the iconic sets, 90 MU, 96 Marvel Masterpieces, maybe 95 metal, maybe 92 Jim Lee X-Men, like those
characters are worth it.
I think that stuff's worth it because there's always going to be demand for that. People are always, as much as people want to crap on 90 MU, that's a lot of people's iconic set, and there's always going to be set builders for that in a PSA registry, like that sort of stuff. Those old comic images that, like, Charles and even Steve's in on the stickers, like that sort of stuff. I think that sort of base cards are fine to grade, but I wouldn't be grading modern Marvel base cards. That's a mouthful.
You got to remember that, like, the older cards that were around a lot, like the 1990s, whatever it may be, 1990 Marvel Universe or something else along that lines, the popular characters were handled as kids a lot, probably, right? So, like the Spider-Mans, the Wolverines, the Venoms, the Punishers, whatever it may be, were probably handed a lot and traded a lot, and just, because when I first got back into this, I thought my cards were mint. Like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever. I think it was like 2009, 2010. I started to get back into this, and I had those original cards in a binder that I had from when I was a kid. And I always thought that I took good care of them. Man, when I took those things out of the pages, they were like 8s and 7s, and I was like, good Lord, these are not mint at all. Like, I thought I took good care of them, but so my point is, that's what makes them special. I think that when you grade base cards, you have the popular characters in 9s and 10s. That's what makes it special, because there's only so many out there. I know those cards were mass produced, but it's tough finding those characters in outstanding condition. And I think that's what makes them kind of special. So I wouldn't go ahead and try to, get something else graded that was like, I can't think of a character right now, like a Human Torch. Like, I'm sure there's Human Torch.
Hey. I'm sure there's a Human Torch fan.
That's but I'm saying, like, that's what makes it special. Like, to have some more iconic base cards graded. So
don't want us to grade an iBoy from X-Men Metal. Got it.
Why do they always say iBoy?
Because he's terrible. Hey, I like this question from Chicago Mamba. Do you think Marvel cards are an adult hobby at this point, being that a kid can afford a pack with overinflated prices until all demographics can afford Marvel cards, won't touch Pokemon sports cards? I like the question because I think I know everyone's kind of Marvel card story that's on the round table. But it's Flip and Steve, you're the one I don't know about, but I think we all opened Marvel card packs as kids and really enjoyed it. And that is kind of the genesis of why we're, all on this Marvel card roundtable now. And they were, playing at a different level with much more expensive and valuable cards. Phil here has got virtually a master set of Marvel cards. He's at a whole different level than just about anybody I know. But I think the problem isn't the adults collecting Marvel cards. I think the problem is Upper Deck, and the fact that they are not creating the product and put it in the places where it's easier for kids to get. And I do think that that should happen and needs to happen. We can play our small role, which is content creating, and like Kent was doing, handing out Y Sports and letting kids open those packs for free at card shows. But that's nothing in comparison to the reach that Upper Deck has, and where they can they can continue to put product in Walmarts and Targets, and I think that does need to happen.
I want to add something to that, if I can. What he mentioned in here is your kid can't afford a pack. That's not the problem. I mean, for instance, we did a box pick earlier with Scandell. We did Marvel Annual. How much of those boxes, Scandell? Like $100?
Yeah, which probably makes a pack around $5. Yeah,
right.
$5,
So
$6.
That's not necessarily the problem. The problem is, where do you go to buy a pack of cards? You don't. They're not available. There isn't a your hobby shop that you're going to go up that has the old open box where you can just grab and buy a pack. It doesn't exist. Not in most places anyway. So that the problem is that they're not widely available to buy a pack, because those packs would be reasonably inexpensive. You can buy a box online. Maybe a card shop has a box, but nobody's going to have the thing where your kid can go buy a pack for $3 or $2 or whatever, just because the packs aren't available like that, just to go buy a pack at a store.
That can only change if our Upper Deck, brokers a deal with Walmart or Target. That's the only thing. That's
boxes. There were the mystery boxes in Walmart, but people found out that they had the 2018 Flu Ultra X-Men in them, and people were buying them up, and you can't find them anymore.
Wow,
they were there for maybe 12 to 18 months, and now they're all gone.
You can get Space Jam cards, and they have they're geared towards kids. Not the best product in the world, are characters in the world, in my opinion, but.
Do you know much about the Spider-Verse cards coming out? Are they going to be accessible or no?
That's a really good question, because they feel like the same kind of makeup as the Space Jam box cards or cards. So maybe those end up at Walmart. If so, that'll be huge.
That would be huge. That would be so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, and this isn't along the lines of packs, but this is just a story coming out of Atlanta, and I didn't put my video out yet. But I got a message on Instagram shortly after I got back, and it was a gentleman, and he was like, "Man, I walked by some Marvel showcases in Atlanta, and I had my son with me, and my son didn't know Marvel cards existed, and he got really excited about it. And he asked me, he was like, his favorite characters are Carnage, Venom, and Green Goblin. And he was like, do you have any of those cards?" And I'm like, I do, but if these are for your son, what I have is kind of like high-end expensive stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm not really looking for anything like that. I'm just looking for something that, my young son could have, just to have some Marvel cards. And I was just like, man, give me your address or a PO box or whatever you have available, and I'll send you what I have. And I came home because I had bought some binders from a comic book shop like 2 years ago. And in those binders was 2 complete Fleer metal sets, I think from 95. Mm-hmm. And 2 complete sets of 94 Flair. And there's all kinds of different images, especially in that Flair set of Venom and Carnage and stuff. And I pulled every single card that I had in those binders and top loaded them up and sent a little box to his son. And he was like, I'm not even going to come in. I'm going to film him getting these, and he's going to be super excited. It's going to be a surprise. So whether it's packs or whether it's just finding affordable singles that look nice, because this Flair set actually looks really nice.
It's got great original art in it.
There are affordable cards out there, and I think what people are getting caught up in right now are these big record-breaking sales. And packs, across the board, packs are expensive. Mm-hmm. Whether it's people buying up all of the sports cards from Walmart and marking them up 3x and putting them on eBay, it hasn't been easy for kids to get packs, period. I buy packs intentionally. Like I bought some Illusion basketball packs because I saw them the other day, and I'll give these away on my YouTube channel to somebody who can't find them or buy them. So that's what I like to do, like that. But yeah, there's stuff out there that's affordable, that looks really nice, and it might be hard to come across because you just aren't going to find it in your everyday sports card store, and you're not even going to find it in your comic book shop. I went in there and asked them if they had comic book cards, and they laughed at me. I mean, you mean like cards with comic images on them? I was like, yeah. And they were like, no, we'd have nothing like that here.
We're always talking about how the 90s were printed to hell. So, I mean, man, those boxes are sitting around. You can still get 92 Marvel Universe Series 3 for $50 a box.
Yeah.
Even Series 2 is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Justin.
Oh, yeah. We got those for $100 a box.
I gave those out for free at Atlanta.
I was there.
Hey, Joshua, you had a thought?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the base card comment. So prior to when the 90s MU came out with Neo coming out with all these videos and all that, right? Mm-hmm. I graded cards. I have about 55 cards at PSA right now currently. Only about 15 of them are 90 MU. All the other ones are actually base, some of them 1994 base flare, mm-hmm. as well as 1995. And the reason that I submitted it is because of the character and the artwork. I think that's one thing that's going to be big into this play is the artwork that is on the card. Just like you, Spidey, you like the 1992 Joe Jusko Spider-Man. That base card. It's a base card. You can still submit it, and it could still sell for $1,000 if it's like a PSA 10.
Yeah,
there's plays.
Still not enough of those at PSA 10. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, there's plays out there, that's for sure. So
I think I was taken a little out of context when I said don't grade base. When I say don't grade base, I mean if the card has other versions. So when you're talking about 90 MU, base is what it is. That's the set is base. It's a base set. There's no hollow foils. There's no, of that 90 MU. Just like the 75 stickers, which I love. I grade those. The Fleer Metal set from 95, those are great to grade. But then again, to that point, if you're grading for cost efficiency, you got to hope that those cards 10 for you. If not, you're sitting with a 9 of a base card that you can't move out from under.
Yeah, so 90 MU is pretty rough on a 9.
Yeah.
And I graded a lot of my 90 MU as well. And I had a hand collated set I put together when I was in high school, and I found it in my closet, and I graded them just for the heck of it. I got 6s and 7s on some of it, but
I try to warn everybody. I said the ones underneath your bed aren't going to grade well.
You did. I just noticed that I have done a terrible job of keeping up with the comments. Good Lord, there's a significant amount more comments than I even got to. And I told the guys before we got on that. What's that?
Can you put Freddie Falcon's comment up?
I don't know that I even see it. I'm like 500 comments away.
Who's Dre Studios? Because they had some information.
Did you just say who's
Dre? Who is Dre?
No. I'm just saying
Dre the artist.
Chat,
yeah.
On the
Dre.
Chat.
It's Dre.
He's getting some inside information about
I'm seeing it.
You know Dre?
Yeah.
The artist.
Yeah,
I didn't see his comment.
Dre Studios. Well, he was talking about how we were talking about if there was cards that were going to be released on the retail side, and he did say that there would be. There would be like some blister packs of Marvel coming out. That's what they said.
So. There we go. So that's what I was thinking, that they had something, but no, I did not hear that. Not surprised.
He mentioned it on that call last night. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. You didn't call me, Dre. I did not miss a call from you. So,
I'd like to add to that. I mean, adults can't get packs right now. I mean, someone talk to DA in Steel City and tell them to loosen the.
Who y'all want to open this eventually?
Right now, we're all here.
No, we're not doing it right now.
We're all here. Pornos and give you a sheesh on that one.
I still have 2 boxes of vibranium, guys. So.
I have Marvel Unbound packs I want to open right now.
Yeah, so everybody, we got a little treat for you. So
it's
Upper Deck has an e-pack function, right? And our boy Phil likes to store unopened packs on e-pack. I mean, that's when you know you have too many cards, but I digress.
I don't even understand.
But he's going to open a couple of those with us.
I don't know if you guys see this. Can you guys see this? Is that in there?
I can. Yeah, we got it.
You guys got it?
Yeah.
So.
Hold on. I'm gonna make you bigger.
Because I'm gonna have to go here pretty soon. My phone is dying. I have like less than 10%, so I want to get this done here. But I'm gonna open this up on my my iPad.
If you can do this backwards, I'm gonna be really impressed.
So just real quick, people that don't know e-pack, you can go to just Google Upper Deck e-pack. You can create an account and you can buy Marvel packs.
Can you make a ripping motion of your iPad so you're kind of ripping your iPad?
And I don't know if the sound will come in. Like, there's normally like a red flasher sound, right? I'm sure everybody.
Oh man, I hope we get a red.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Let's go.
I only got 3 packs. So this is Moon Knight. So we'll go ahead. This is what Unbound is every week.
Do you hit that button or do you touch the pack? I touched the. Oh yeah, here we go.
Wait,
touch the pack. Get that rip feel. There we go.
That's the card right there. That's the artwork. I don't think I hit anything here. We're hoping for a red flasher auto. That'd be great if this actually happens, but
the top.
Right.
He's never done this upside down and backwards, guys. Sorry.
You hit it here, you said normally?
No, I like to touch the pack.
Oh, the pack?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't even know you could touch the pack. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you get the ripping feel.
I have one more.
Yeah, touch the pack this time.
Spidey Juju.
Yeah, now do it. Now touch the pack.
So everybody that's watching, if he gets the auto, there'll be a second card in there.
Last pack. Hopefully we get a red.
Here we go.
Last pack mojo. Rip.
No auto.
Oh, no auto. Buy more. Buy more. That's what always gets me.
So Jim Baker says, "Are these internet cards? I prefer the real thing. These are real cards that you can get Upper Deck to ship to you. It's just
it's not. Yeah, it's not like Tops.
So yeah, let's see if we can show this one more time for Phil. So this is the actual cards. We can't zoom in very well here, but they're actually numbered cards. And he will be sent. Well, if he gets them sent home, they'll send home the actual cards that he's looking at, the number cards.
Yes, but you want to wait in some situations, and this is one of the situations where if you complete the set, you get different achievement cards, and then once you get all those achievement cards, you get a signed lithograph, which I'm looking forward to. So yeah. there's a lot of value to keeping your cards on e-packs. I think a lot of people, like, if you have a card on e-pack, like still from like say 2016 Marvel Masterpieces or 2017 Flu Ultra Spider-Man, something like that, it's essentially still like really good condition because it hasn't been changing hands multiple times. So people think that essentially the card is going to be pretty close to mint, right? Mm-hmm. Or it could be, coming shipped from Upper Deck or shipped from Comicsy. So that's why I have a lot of cards still on e-packs, and but I do worry, because there's something happens to you, like say something happens to me, where nobody knows my password or something like that. There were members of the different Facebook groups that unfortunately have passed on. What was the guy's name? He was a big blob collector. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a gentleman who was a big X-Men blob character collector, and I had some blob sketches at the time. And he was a big guy. He was a big, heavy guy. Shout out to Steven.
Me? Did I just get
he was a big guy. I don't know how old.
I'm going to work out. I'm going to change my habits.
He was,
rough.
A little bit older than us, maybe like in his 40s or so. And unfortunately, he passed away. We don't know why. I literally had just done a trade with him like 5 days before he passed on. And he probably has an account out there. And I'm curious what happens to his cards on e-packs if something like that happens, because I don't know if they have like a system to get the cards to his family members.
They probably should just,
they just buy it, or they
have a beneficiary form that you can fill out.
Did you just call 40-year-olds old?
I'm 40 years old. I'm going to be 40 years old.
I thought I heard he was 40. He was old. I was like, damn.
He lives in Las Vegas. He lives in Las Vegas. This is.
I think somebody heard the same thing that Neo heard. Look at Marvelous Packs. He traded his Moon Knight auto for 13 red PMGs.
Good job, Victor.
That's insane.
The X-Men, right?
That means I got a really good deal on the Moon Knight that I bought today.
Was yours redeemed? Well,
that does not compute. That does not compute to me. Wait, say that again. What was that?
He got 13 red PMGs. I actually can confirm that this really happened.
I wanted to say too, the big advantage on e-pack to me, especially if you're not in the States, is international. Mm-hmm. Because the Moon Knight that I bought was from somebody that was in Australia, and So I just did the PayPal thing, and he just sent it to my ePack account. Now I can have them ship it home, or I can leave it in my ePack account. Either
That's
one.
beautiful.
It makes it so simple for trading and moving cards instead of dealing with shipping.
I traded my Moon Knight auto for the 2013 Flair Retro Spider-Man metal base card, which I'm happy with.
Good choice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
All right, guys. Well, I promised that would keep you only for about an hour. We're at an hour and 20 minutes, so that officially makes me a liar. I apologize. But it's always good to be with you, even if it's now not in person. But hopefully we'll do that again. And I'm thinking that Dallas will be the next big show for most of us to go to. Some people will be going to Mint Collective.
Dallas is in May 19th.
I think you're right, and that's the one that
Yes.
that I'm planning
Yep.
to go to. I think it'd be good.
It'll be the national.
That's
And
the
then
one we should shoot for.
Nationals August, right?
Yeah. No, late last weekend in
End of
July.
July.
Last week in July, even better.
I'm going.
August is rough.
I would strongly recommend if you're planning on attending the national, get your hotels lined up as soon as possible.
So yeah, we obviously won't do this live on YouTube, but maybe we can do an Airbnb or something. I don't know, but I'll get together. But,
That'd be cool.
It'd be fun. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Everybody in the chats, thanks. Sorry, I could not keep up with them. I don't know how Neo does it. I don't know how he keeps up with his chats. No wonder your live streams are 2.5 hours. Trying to answer all the questions, but really appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate everybody in the chats. And as always, I hope you have a marvelous day.